What is up, all my gorgeous and beautiful souls? This is Breaking the Cage, Astrology TV, and this is with the Matrix Minds. Boy, do I have a lot to talk about this week. Normally, if you're new to the show and you come in, I am typically doing a little bit of conversation about whatever it is I'm being given from my guides, as well as the astrology and the blueprint, kind of helping us through each week, maybe seeing a little bit into the future, according to whatever it is that I'm being directed into. But this week I'm being told kind of take a little bit of a detour and talk. Hold on. I'm trying to, real fast, I'm trying to post to one of my pages, but I don't want it echoing. Yeah. Give me just 1 second, guys. But I wanted to take a detour because it's basically what I'm being directed into doing is, and it's funny because I realized why they gave me such a detour, but with that detour, it was a lot more solid or thick, so to speak, as to helping us understand as we're approaching this new year. One more real fast, I believe. Hold on. No. Okay, I'll get that one later. Okay. Because on the little meme like commercial I put out for the show, I was saying the Seraphim are coming and that they're already here. And they are. I've dealt with the Seraphim on many occasions. But they're bouncing me around. And it's funny because originally when I was putting in my astrology, I kept looking at the astrology, and one of the people who I work with and my part-time jobs laughing at me. They were like, because I'm looking at the astrology chart and I'm like, but that's not where the planet is. I don't understand. I was like, and I kept looking over the information over and over again. I'm like, did I enter it wrong? I'm like, because this planet doesn't belong here, and this planet doesn't belong here. And my friend at work's like you put the planets there, Shelley. And I'm like, no, but I know where they belong, and it's not matching. And so one of the reasons that they sent me on this wild goose chase over the last 2 weeks is I guess they already knew what I was going to be doing. Because when I put the astrology in, I was putting it in for the year of 25. I wanted us to go really ancient. And I finally found it. And then once I started connecting the dots plus everything that I've been being given, it made so much sense. Now, with that being said, as we move into 2025, this is a new moon this week. This is for December 29th through January 4th. Hey, Kristen, I see you there. So I want to say hi. Because once I get too deep into the conversation or reading my stuff, I always forget to come back and say hi in the comments. And I always tell everybody I will go back and read them later. This is a new moon here at the end of the year. But it's not just a new moon, it's a black moon. And that means it's the second new moon while we were in the one sign. This is an incredibly potent and powerful time of work. Now, some people who are into spell work and witchcraft or so forth along that line, some people will say it's incredibly powerful. Others will say this is not a time to do work. What I am trying to get at is the Seraphim is saying this is a super manifesting time. And you really need to be on point. Because whether you mean to or not, the manifesting is already working. Now, everything outside of you, especially over the next couple months, but everything outside of you is a combination of deception, truth, reflection, and virtues. I've been saying over the last at least month, when I was been looking at the astrology, I kept going back to the runes because I don't read astrology the way most people do, or astrologers. I wasn't taught it through like an astrology class. I was taught it by spirit. And so I point out things that others flat out just don't point out because I don't read it like normal aspects. And I was seeing over and over and over again, at least over the last month, Induus or Ingwas, which is a rune. And this has been speaking to us desperately of us needing to get right with our inner nourishment, our inner seeding, our inner guiding, our inner resources, a process of containing and harnessing that energy. Then here slowly come the seraphim. Now, before I get to them, I'm going to go into how I'm being directed to them and what this conversation is helping us to understand as we're moving forward, not just at the end of this year, because this is the year of the dragon. And we're coming into the Chinese New Year, which is what, January 21st, when it shifts from the year of the dragon to the year of the snake, which speaks volumes of serpent, both dragon and snake, which also speaks of seraphim. 2025, again, it's a 5 with 2 2s. You add that, you get a 9. It is a year of completion. And I am being told 4s are all over that. And I don't mean it like add 2 and 2. I mean like a completion of 4 years, a completion of 40 years. 4s. There's completion happening here. But the year itself is the completion. So you have not reached the completion until the end of the year. There is much growth to take place in this year. And it can be a very wonderful year, but it is also very, this is why the inner nourishment is coming right now in the messages. The inner nourishment, inner resources, knowing how to trust and guide yourself and believe from inside, because there's going to be a ton of deception, a ton of misleading information. But then there's also going to be wonderful good things, and you really need to be able to cipher and search within yourself as to what is the truth and or what is your truth. The Chinese New Year itself with the snake typically represents challenges in careers, challenges in finances, introspection, wisdom, growth, changes within the relationship. And I was being told all last year, and I'm being told all this year again. And I'm being given it literally by the crystal of fluorite. Determination, determination, and determination. That has to be instilled in you. Because there's going to be times, I'll be the first one to say, with everything that was going on with my mom over the last couple years, but especially over this past year, where even I just was ready to give up. Be like, I'm turning it all in, closing the door, I'm done. This has been a rough patch, but it's also been a glorious patch. But that's what I'm trying to say is, for as I tell people all the time, I'm like, don't ever get me wrong. I'm like, of course I walk my spiritual journey. Of course I'm a shaman. I understand the divine wisdom. I understand the consciousness. I've been taught it. I get it. I feel it. I know it. But I also have that human ego in me. And for as righteous and good as I can be in the right direction, I can be just as destructive in the opposite. But that's kind of full circle now, isn't it? Being able to own all parts of you and see where your growth is, where your growth isn't, what parts of you actually are self-sacrificing or self-sabotaging, not sacrificing, and learning yourself and understanding, because that's all part of the oneness. Now, let me get back. Vanity over this next year is not going to favor well with anyone. Anybody who's in that narcissistic, self-centered perspective, very vain, this is not going to play well for them. And it's about being, more of that authentic soul fire personality and getting away more from that vanity of the three-dimensional, because that's part of the deception. Like I said, we all know this. We're being taught it, but truly understanding and comprehending from a higher dimensional perspective, from the perspective of consciousness, the vanity is more of the vain side of three-dimensional ego, and giving the idea more to the narcissistic, self-centered perspective. I've just said that over and over again, but I don't know how else to place that. Other than I'm being told, watch your egocentric personalities, because it can definitely be the self-sabotage that is being created. Like I said, the Seraphim are saying the manifestation are coming in quick, both for the positive and for the negative, depending on where you are on that inner nourishment and your true relationship with your own inner source connection. Now, before I start getting into really how I got to the Seraphim, over the last couple of weeks, I have said, for those of you who follow me or who know me personally, I've always been upfront that I am my work deals with transformation, with people's transformation, and how we are healing. So I have said from the beginning, and I've never been quiet about it, that I am like Death God Central. I'm not trying to brag. It's not always a fun and comfortable thing, because transformation often is the very farthest from comfortable. And where I normally speak of Azrael or the Grim or Grim Reaper or just Grim, this time it's not Grim that's coming through. This time I have Baron Semini, and he has been, I love Baron Semini. He cracks me up, but he's been up my ass. He has been up my ass to make sure I'm understanding where I'm going. And he's the one that's actually leading me to the Seraphim here. And I want to make sure for those who are listening, because you get a lot of people when you get into the voodoo and stuff that definitely have a lot of comments, good, bad, indifferent. And I am being told to correct that. If this is coming from old Haitian, it is Vodou. It is not voodoo. And there is definitely a difference. Because what I am being directed to is more of the Haitian, more than like New Orleans voodoo. Yet they do intertwine. Baron Semini is known as, in Vodou, one of the death gods. And anytime you're dealing with the Iowa, or Loa, or however it is that different people pronounce it, they are considered the spirits of certain families of the Vodou, families that bring you to the higher levels. And you can't typically get to any of them without Papa Ligba. But I don't know how. I just have a very, like I said, that's my death god connection. And Baron Semini is very much, he's a trickster. He's fun. But he's damn serious at the same time. He loves his liquor. He loves his smokes. He loves his rum candies. He wants you to enjoy life, for crying out loud. You are alive. Enjoy it. But there is a transformation. Death does happen, and he will be there to dig your grave. But at the same time, he's known for also keeping some people alive, depending on the situation at hand. I'm going that route because, like I said, this is a death god situation where he is talking about transformation, because he is directly sending me to Damballa, which is considered one of the first, if not the first, Iowa. And then some would say he's not even in Iowa because he's technically above Iowa. It would be the ancient serpent. Now, when you get into biblical history, I mean, you get into biblical history, you get back into Damballa, which is the white serpent, the ancient serpent. It is the serpent of creation in Vodo. He is kind of like the first creation, the creation of creation, which would have been brought to you by Bundi, which, according to Bundi, would have been the one that would be most considered to be what Christians would consider God, would be the closest to that. But both Damballa and Bundi, or God, are so far removed from our world now. It's like it's one of those, you could pray to God, you could pray to Bundi, you could pray to Damballa, but 90% of the time you are never going to hear an answer, even though you do. It's just, do you know how to hear that answer? Because they don't deal with us the way most spirits who do deal with us. Like I said, this is why Baron Semini is directing me in this way to feeling and understanding the essence, which then is taking me over to the Seraphim. But there's an importance here, because what you're looking at is the essence of creation, the essence of, excuse my language, but fuck faith. It's the essence of the oneness, the essence of knowing, the essence of being, and knowing that you are the being. This is beyond breaking the matrix. This is, you are the fucking matrix, guys. And what are you creating? Like I said, from the very beginning, taking me over to the Seraphim and stuff, reminding us every single thing that is outside of you is filled with deception, truth, reflection, and virtues. And it's all a point of you. You are the prime creator, but the prime creators are so far away from us, even though we have sparks of them in us to make us our own. It's just we aren't connected the way we should be, or the way we used to be. Now let me take you back for a second to Damballa. Damballa also is seen or viewed by many of the Christians in biblical story as the snake in the Garden of Eden. So Damballa would be seen as evil or bad, but Damballa is considered a white snake. There is an importance here. According to everything that I'm being given, it is a white snake, a snake of creation, a snake of divinity, bringing us knowledge. And the reason that it's viewed that way in the Bible, from it being evil and so forth, is because he gave the apple to him and opened you up to knowledge to learn, which according to the Bible you were never supposed to have. However, this is also starting to connect us to the questioning of that deception of everything that's outside of you when we get into the Anunnaki. Full circle, everything. Everything's a deception. How well are you with you? How well are you with knowing your power and who you are and what you bring to the essence of the matrix of which you were creating? This is why I'm coming full circle here. Because when we get into understanding the conversation that Damballa is bringing, this brings us to the year of the snake and the year of the dragon that is ending, the hissing sound. This is speaking to us of, they don't speak to you like normal, like English or whatever language. This is you having to know how to speak, hear, communicate with your true essence, with your true inner creator, with your true inner source. Like I said, so much grit here. And understanding where that's coming from. And are you getting in the form of deception? Because see, all seraphim at the same time are not necessarily all good, so to speak. Seraphim are known, for one, to be the highest order of celestial energy or celestial protectors, angels. They are known to be the one that surrounds the throne of God. They are known for their 6 wings. I think they're known for 6 wings, voice, and hands. Might be feet. For me, I don't see them that way. For me, oh, I see them, but I am definitely one of those people. And I guess, like, I can never say that how you see, view, or understand the energy, as long as you are getting to the true grit and the root and the depth and full understanding. Because there is a lot of, again, deception in the spiritual community, with a lot of decoys giving false information and trying to do work that is not yet of their level and skill to be doing. And so understanding if and what spirit or entity you're talking to or communicating with, they give you the energy the way that you need to see it. And for me, when I deal with the seraphim, I see wings, wings, wings. It's so much more than 6 wings. I see just friggin' wings everywhere, but all of those wings are filled with eyes. Which brings me to starts with the peacock, to the peacock wings, because the peacock and the eyes of the peacock are known to be able to see the truths. And this is why I see the seraphim this way. Now, seraphim is known to be the highest order of celestial energy, known in a form to guard God, but are mostly known also for their holy, holy, holy chant. And I personally, for me, because I've dealt with them many times, for me, it's not a chant like holy, 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 like what you think of words of a holy chant. It's more of a vibration or a frequency that will change your insides. And it's important that you understand when you're truly getting one and one is speaking with you, that you understand if you're getting one that's full of deception or considered to have fallen and is really out for the healing of you or not. And I don't know how else to put that other than, for me, when I deal with them, I have a whole new level of just awe, like holy, oh my, ah. And that will put me to tears with the good, the bad, and the indifferent, with showing me how wonderful it can be, but how much humans screw it up. How beautiful we should be to one another, but how we are separated and divided, to where it makes me feel like the consciousness itself is crying and sad. As in, you could be so glorious, but you choose not to. Why? Helping me to identify certain situations. And this is part of what I'm getting at. we need to know just how inner nourished are you? How much are you still being separated and divided from your fellow man, woman, indifferent, the oneness, because of the deception? And I'll be the first one to admit, I work really, really hard at not being hot-headed anymore. I'm a Leo and I'm a Cancer moon. And I'm a Virgo rising. So I'm a detail, anal retentive eclipse that wants some fucking answers. I have to work really hard at being quiet, shutting up, listening, observing, and allowing myself to come to understand and see through all the bullshit and to the truth. And I'm not always good at it. I say these things because I want you guys to understand I know what it feels like. I understand where you've been. I go through it myself. So do all of us. And we're really getting into how connected are you? How inner nourished are you? How divinely connected are you? Because the deception outside of yourself goes way back. You don't know. I mean, how many myths and different different spirits, different journeys, different cultures, different religions, go all the way back to the Anunnaki. I'll be the first one to be like, you finally tell me the truth, I'm not going to believe it because you've lied to me so many freaking times. This is kind of what I mean, but in your personal, individual, day-to-day life, with your family, your friends, your jobs, your world around you. We are seeing the blow up in your face. You're also going to start seeing it on a political arena real fast. And on the world scale real fast. And you are going to need to be able to see deep within yourself if that's the truth or if that's a deception led to lead you another direction. Only you know if your true depth with yourself is in denial. Only you know, like I said, when I've dealt with the Seraphim and it's been put to awe to where I'm like, oh my God. It feels like when, and I don't mean to make it sound like God or anybody is being like scolding you, because that's not the point at all. But it feels like when you do care and your parent is like, you just let me down. I knew you could be so much more than that. Why did you give up? I feel like this is what's coming from the Bundi, from the Dambala, from the snake, from the Seraphim, from the consciousness. This is not the time to give up, but this is the time to make sure you're getting right with your inside, right with your knowing, so that you cannot be misled and misdirected or separated, because there's a big separation coming that's going to try to continue to pull apart. Plus, your DNA is upgrading. It is shifting. You are becoming ultimately a new species over time, and you're in the beginning stages that they don't even comprehend yet. Not to mention when I get into the Seraphim, I'm being directed. This is all coming from Baron Semini, directing me from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And then they keep moving it all the way back till I go all the way back to Bundi. And the Seraphim is now directing me also all the way to the fact of Moses, Numbers, and the bronze or the brass snake, God's punishment on the Israelites when they were in the desert. How much of in your life is it just stale energy, no change, no real directional change, beliefs? Just how much is the same, but you're not putting your part in, you're not doing your redirecting, you're not doing your part, but you're bitching and moaning about it, versus being thankful and seeing the higher dimensional energy, seeing the higher perspectives, understanding, stepping into it, being it, or being of the lower dimensional. You want to be 3D? Do you want to be higher? It is a choice. You are coming into the ability to step into the higher dimensions consciously and understand it from that higher perspective. So where is it that you are? Because when we go all the way back to the brass or the bronze snake and Moses, God was told, like I said, we're going biblically here. God was told, Moses was told by God to put the snake on the staff and then it would become gold. And all they had to do to heal, instead of being taken out and dying, was believe to look at the bronze snake and it would heal them. Sometimes the easiest things of our faith, again, fuck faith, knowing that you are the highest vibration and then being it. Stepping in to that Dambala, stepping into that inner consciousness of God, stepping into the inner Bundi. Transformation coming through Baron Semini. It's death and renewal, death and renewal, death and renewal. It never ends. This is a time of introspection and growth and recharging the power of you by processing and containing and harnessing the energy of that inner source by knowing the bullshit deceptions. The bullshit deceptions is the stale, I don't want to change, I'm uncomfortable. I'm comfortable in my uncomfortability. I'm in my comfort zone. Nothing about this is meant to be comfortable. You're growing, whether you like it or not. And when reason I said the positives and the negatives is because in the biblical text, the seraphim are considered those that guard and those that are the highest, those that sing the holy, holy, holy chant, those that are, that bringing that high divine energy in. But the fallen ones are also in the Bible. It speaks of the seraphim also as a flying serpent, a burning serpent. And when we get into numbers, like I was just saying, there's a lot of different theories here behind the snakes, because the serpent is also the snake. And in today's society, when we look back at the culture and blah, 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 that looks like what that would have been, that would have attacked them, was the black cobras. Taking us over to Egyptian, into the cobras, and so forth. There's many stories here. The venomous energy of what killed you, leading us back to full loss, entering your new moon. Your new moon is sitting, the sun and the moon, because it's a new moon, in Capricorn, the outer world, the political arena, the world stage, your honor, your reputation, your careers, your jobs. But it's sitting with Pallas, which is Athena, the warrior goddess, which is all about strategic thinking. But most importantly, what nobody is going to speak about is it's sitting on Pholos, which is fool's loss. Illumination, because you're in that understanding and being able to see the deception of the full loss and being able to see the strategic thinking that's creating the full loss, or you will be in the full loss. And the reason I say it that way is because that's the way spirit directs me. It is Pholos, but they tell me it's full loss. And Pholos was supposed to have been a centaur that was killed simply by being foolish and making a mistake and not noticing he got poisoned. Bringing me back to the seraphim, back to the serpents, back to the snake. Everything is about vibration. I said this last week. For the snake, everything is about vibration. It lays on the ground. It feels people walking by. It deals with everything. It knows how to move. It is a muscle. It is the strongest muscle because it is a muscle. And it all works by vibration, by letting that snake know what's safe and what's not. Are you charging and strengthening the muscle that you connect with your vibration? Key and point. But staying with the biblical term, where Seraphim also gives me, in John, Moses lifted the serpent into the wilderness, up and into the wilderness. And as he did so, it says, so must the Son be lifted, the Son of Man. Now we all know Hebrew has a different perspective here. Hebrew says that it says that seraphim is the burning ones. But it also speaks to you directly of it being the serpent. Is the serpent in you, the vibration of you, the muscle of the vibration, the connection to the muscle of your vibration? How in tune is it? How skilled are you in it? How, I've said a million times, for me, guys, my little coffee cup here, Cheetah. Cheetah, for me, is running up and down the tree, changing the vibration. Just like your aura. Your aura is not always green or blue or orange or yellow. It deals with what's going on with you. You may have a typical overset of what your aura is, but your vibration is the same. Your soul will also shift colors according to what is going on. Your soul is able to look at ego and be like, I love you unconditionally, but still feel sorry for it and still allow it to hang itself because of that unconditional love. This is why I said the snake, the vibration, the seraphim, it's all coming together. But it all is speaking to you of what is your vibration. How skilled are you in owning your vibration and tempting your vibration and shifting your vibration? Yeah, like a mood ring. But you need to be able to read your own moods instead of having to see it on the exterior outside of you through the deception, the truth, the reflection, and the virtues. Because what's going to be going on outside of you may absolutely really be shifting things in another way to misdirect you. Because like I said, not all of them are positive. Not all of them that are giving off that energy and helping direct us are directing us in a positive way. Partially, that's also their job. Sometimes you have to learn the lesson. Just like going back to Moses in Numbers. God supposedly sent in the burning serpents to punish the Israelites because they needed to learn their lesson. I'm just giving you all the different details that I've been being given as we redirect. Not to mention, I'm also being directed at the simple fact, and I am being told to say it, the prophecy of Merlin. The prophecy of Merlin speaks to you of the red and the white dragon. And the red dragon, being a red dragon, also speaks to you of being a red seraphim. Ultimately was the one who ultimately won, even though it was invaded first. Again, I did say you're going to see invasion energy in this next year. I cannot say where invasions will take place or how. but I am being told it. And I'm giving you that. They're all coming full circle and explaining it. So where are you in your dimensional perspectives, energy, vibration, frequency? How skilled are you in managing it? How divinely connected are you? And if not, maybe you need to do some more inward reflection and work on that, because the deception on the outside is definitely going to throw those others off, making it worse for the invasion to take place. Getting into the blueprint. I can't do the blueprint. I just looked up a paper and I never even wrote it down. I wrote down where they were, but I forgot to look it up. But that's okay. I do still have a lot to say here. You have Mars, though, is still in the heart until the end of this week. And it is definitely being targeted, both in the body as well as in astrology. Because Mars isn't really getting along with much. It is definitely questioning everything. And this is your heart chakra. Until next week when it steps back into Cancer. But when it steps back into Cancer, I can't tell you directly in the body where it is, but when it steps back into Cancer, this energy is going to get harsher because it's in retrograde. It's Mars entering the water. It is fire and water, the reflection of them coming together. Will the water burn out the fire? Will the fire dry out the water? Can they exist together? But right now, we'll get into that next week because it's going into the 4th house, which is your inner emotional security. I don't know where it is directly in the body. I have to look that up. But it is tapping back into the inner emotional security. So you best believe the questioning of that inner emotional security is going to be tapped and picked at this week, because you need to have something to know what to work on when it goes back in. And Mars from the heart chakra is questioning almost everybody. The heart is still under scrutiny, and that means it's also asking you about your oxygen intake, because without your oxygen intake, the body is not going to work as well. You want to make sure your life force energy of the heart is working well. This is telling you to pamper yourself, love yourself, respect yourself. Take some freaking time and give yourself that, because it is definitely going through evaluation process of what is good and what is not, what works for you, what does not, what is comfortable, what is not, why, what's healthy. Jupiter is doing much of the same, but like I said, I didn't look that up, so unfortunately I can't get into that. Venus, however, is going to be moving into Pisces at the end of the week. I guess I left my little form out there. Is this it? No. Pisces, I've been saying, though, you have so many planetary energies that are still taking place in the lower levels of consciousness, the egocentric parts of self. And Venus, your sensitivity is moving into your comfortable in your uncomfortability. 12th house, skeletons in the closet. With Saturn, which is in retrograde, with Neptune, which is in retrograde, at the very questioning of grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities, and your skeletons in the closet that have made skeletons in the closet because you're still in denial and don't even know that you're in denial about it because you've never explored it that much. Your sensitivity is about to be off the chain, which means so will the feet. Issues within the feet is directly speaking to all organs, which will tell you if you're having feet problems, which will tell you if you're having problems in other chakras and what's connecting to your lack of being in that spiritual truth, because Pisces in its lowest vibration speaks to you about murder and malice and the hatred and what you can't get to what you can't get right about. So if you're having pain in your feet and you do the reflexology and you look up what organ and where it is, put that into the chakra, it's telling you where it's coming from, what chakra is having a problem versus your level of divinity and where the problem is coming from. Venus is a key point here, coming up on Saturn, and then coming slowly, but up on Neptune. You have the moon, which is going to be moving through Capricorn, because that's where you're having the new moon. What, tomorrow, I believe? No, 2 days from now. Then you have it going into Aquarius and into Pisces. Like I said, this whole week is speaking to you about how much full loss are you still attracting versus being responsible for the vibration you're attracting, being aware of the vibration. Again, taking us back to the fact the snake lives its whole life off of understanding the muscle that it is by feeling the vibrations and knowing its safety or lack of safety. So how in tune are you? Now, since I skipped the blueprint because I accidentally forgot to write it down, I'm going to get into the key points of the growth here of what I'm being told. A lot of this week, but as we approach this next couple months, before I get into the astrology itself, I'm being reminded this is all about retrain your brain. Retrain your brain. Retrain your brain in the form of perfect example. Mom died. You guys know that, who've been following me for a while. And I've been taking care of her for what, 10 years? I mean, it's not like I didn't know it was coming. You're never going to know it's coming. But that doesn't mean I don't have grief. That doesn't mean that I still don't have pieces of myself I feel bad about or will beat myself up over. And this is what I mean by train your brain. I did everything I could. I tried to be the best I could. I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself for things that I have said or done, trying to make myself feel bad. We had a good life together. We were best friends. I mean, and not everybody can say that. We had a very good relationship. And I need to focus my brain when I get in my feeling sorry for myself of no, we're not going to feel sorry for yourself. You're not going to feel bad about the things that have happened or that you did. That's that egocentric brain trying to take over and fuck my head up. No, I'm going to focus on we had a good life, the things that we did do. Look at the positive. Does it bring you joy? If it doesn't, why are you allowing your head to talk that shit to you? Train your brain. Because if you're going to get to that vibration, that higher dimension, you're going to have to train that brain. With that being said, Mars, again, like I said this week, which is in Leo, the 5th house. This is all about your creator energy. Mars is your inner warrior, your inner SWAT team. It's still in fire of Leo. But this is where I say, what makes you happy? What makes you tick? Are you getting time to be and reflect and do what makes you tick? Why do you get up every morning? Do you just get up because you woke up and I got to go to work today and I got to start another job? Are you thankful for it? Are you happy? Are you excited to see what the day may bring? Because that's what the day is supposed to be. The day is supposed to be an adventurous new day. What can come? But a lot of us get trapped in the stale energy, taking me back to what they were saying. Oh, woe is me. Are you getting time? Are you making time? Are you being the creator of the time to have and do what makes you tick? What makes you want to be part of this life? An actor is going to spend all of his time, playing those roles. A singer or a musician wants to play their music. You can't be a freaking musician if you don't have time to practice or to write new songs. A sports person is going out and doing their sports. Some people enjoy all of their time and their effort and their energy painting, writing poems. What makes you tick? Or are you spending it at the bar because you got no idea of what makes you tick? Fifth house, Mars, your inner warrior, your inner SWAT team. Last week of it being here until it goes back into Cancer and really starts going inner emotional security. And why are we questioning it? What is the question here? How do we create it? But it's fire and water. This is that week of, are you being able to breathe life into the creation of what you want? Make sure you're going in that right direction. It is getting along great with Neptune. But Neptune is magic in the 12th house. It's been here for a long ass time. We don't really know what it's going to be like in Aries because, I mean, it takes so long for it to get through. This is its ending of its deception or truth. 12th house. Like I said, you've got this coming up over and over again. The North and South nodes are about to move into these energies. This is creating magic by learning from our mistakes and being the energy that we are, or do we choose to still be in your comfort zone? The magic is there for the ability to create it, but are you? Mars's fire is there, being able to move it forward, but are you? It is getting along great with the North Node. Everything about the character you want to see yourself as and stepping into it. But it's also getting along super great with the South Node. Everything that doesn't serve you within the relationships that go against that. And outside of that, Mars ain't getting along with shit. Mars ain't getting along with shit. Except for one. I'm sorry, I am wrong. It has a superpower going over to Mercury, which is just now coming out of shadow, still in the 9th house. All about your orals, your morals, your ethics, your virtues. Mindfully training. But other than that, Mars ain't getting along with shit. It's the heart and your creative ability to believe and be everything you want. What makes you tick? Why do you get up? It's not getting along with it because it's all in that deception energy. Going, no, you're not going to stop me. But will you let it? That's why it's a challenge. Then you have Jupiter, which is even more potent. Jupiter is sitting in Gemini, your communication of everything that's up close and personal and communication in general. Abundantly communicating everything all up in your face, good or bad or indifferent, deception, lie, or truth. You better know the difference from inside. And it's getting along great with Uranus. But Uranus isn't in its most comfortable place. It is in that energy of lion in a cage, of are you in your power or are you being taken advantage of? Are you easily deceived? Really coming to goldenness here. It is Jupiter is showing you where you really are, whether you want to see it or not. And it is with the North Node, it's getting along great. Again, with understanding who your character is versus who you want it to be. It is getting along with the superpower with Sun in the 10th house, your outer world, because that reflection is going to be spot on. And Pallas, Athena, the warrior goddess, with strategic thinking about you strategically have created all of this. So you could strategically create everything else just as easily. But it's easier to believe in the not as wonderful stuff. I mean, because hell, we've lived here for so long that we're prone to it. But again, Jupiter, outside of those, ain't getting along with nobody. The abundance is very what they just showed me was when you take two magnets and they're going the opposite direction. It's like boom, boom, boom. They're just pushing it back out. But even more important, like I said, because I'm not getting into the full astrology, but I am giving you what I'm being given. Spirit is saying, look at the 12th house for me. And notice sextile over sextile over sextile over sextile, which typically is positive energies. Things that are communicating, that are opportunities. However, they're all going, none of them are talking to Saturn. They're all going over and across Saturn, which is Spirit telling me that right there is full loss. Saturn, your rules, your walls, your boundaries, in the 12th house, with all the opportunities flying around it, is easily distracted and confused right now. Do not fall for full loss. I love you guys. I will see you next week. Big kisses to everyone and Happy New Year.